you see me? Hello? Holy! Oh my god, not the way I wanted to start stream. What the hell? Y'all see me? Also, Buttspot got you. Oh no. Thank you for the hype, gamer. Appreciate it, appreciate it. Let me know if y'all can see me and hear me. I hope you can. Otherwise, I don't know what is wrong with my computer. Yay, Barry got the hype. What? Oh, you have sorry's emotes. Oh my god. I do not like that. Holy. Why? Why did sorry do that? Oh my gosh. But yeah, we're gonna be playing crab game with people today. I don't know most of these people. Quilpy is one of them though, which most of you should know. Quilpy, I met them in real life recently, and also met them apparently early last year. I didn't realize it was that long ago, but it has been a super long time. Anyways, I'm gonna read through chat because I was kind of freaking out my computer just like committing unalive on itself, so oh my gosh, Buttspot, you butted this. Did you add that as a quote, gamer? Gamer, how dare. Also, I don't know if you guys see, but I added captions down below because Twitch captions were not working properly. And also, this way it's saved to the VOD, so people who need them can watch them. It'd be great. It'd be great. Anyways, I need to figure out... Hopefully this doesn't come through on stream, but I need to figure out the code for today. For crab game. Because, I'm not quite sure what's happening. But we're all gonna hop in. Oh man, okay. Hi, yeah, I'm fine. The computer just crashed again, but it was weird. It came up with a bunch of error messages, and then my mouse, whenever I moved it, was doing that like beeping sound. It was super weird. Hello! Let's Bateau! Oh my god! Gamer Buttbot got you again! Let's Bateau! Oh man. Alright, we got the code. We got the code. We're gonna go into the game. Did it not start the game? Oh no. I hit play. I hit play. Apparently it didn't play for me. Okay. Hold on one second. Tiny KTK bot is up. Update BIOS? Oh, that's actually a good idea. I didn't think about that. Okay. Yeah. I didn't think about that. You guys might be onto something there. But yeah, it keeps coming up with like the first error code that I saw was a Logitech thing, and even updating drivers with that didn't work, which is weird. But I want to say it was from oh god, hold on, I'm gonna do some things real fast. I was just assuming that it was from getting like a new camera and my GPU just not holding up, but it might be the BIOS thing. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to the game now though. Hopefully y'all, if it's too loud, let me know. Let me know. Trev! Trev, right now!
Oh my gosh, you're so...
Thank you so much, Trev. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in so long.
Simply 347
I haven't been online in so
Simply
long.
347 high. Simply 347 high.
Hi. Hi. Yes, I do. Yes. It took me a year to update my graphics driver. Help.
So weird. Yeah, it's left shift.
Anyways, okay, I'm gonna switch over to the game. New overlay for the game. Why is it not coming up? There it is. New game overlay because winter, and also it's not done yet, but it's there. It's there.
Oh, you're getting hit. That's how I feel.
Better late than never, right? Oh, I should probably update Discord that I'm live, shouldn't I? I'm afraid to open it on my computer because opening it last time is when it crashed. So let me just do it on my phone real fast.
This is gonna be complete chaos. Stop it!
Alright, adding everybody. Narv now.
Oh my god. This is so
What
funny.
is this game? Why is it?
See you all soon.
I just pushed you off.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for those
Alright.
points.
So funny.
Oh my god.
Published.
Oh,
Alright,
hey,
sorry
chat.
about that, guys.
Yo, beautiful, amazing people.
There's visual issues?
Mickey,
What
look,
visual
I'm not
issues? What visual issues are you seeing? Also, Jensen,
So
hi!
weird.
Hello!
Oh my god.
Is the game too loud for you guys? It kind of seems like it. I think I might try to turn it down a little bit more.
I love your glasses.
Alright, settings, audio.
Not good.
I am very curious though. What visual issues are you seeing?
Okay, it's a follow. It's a follow. I have to take a shot though. Do I have to take a shot for a sub? Holy crap. Hold on a second. We're gonna start
Alright.
these things off. It's very
On your
Let's
thing,
go.
It says a new follow is a sip.
Let's go. Let's try to find Quilpy.
So many voices.
Quilpy! Hello!
No.
Hello!
How do we know who's
It'll take forever.
Can I? How do I pick that up?
Who are you?
Oh, you can
Who
hear
are
me
you?
now?
I'm Santasia.
Oh my god, I was struggling for so long, guys.
Who are you?
Hello!
I was really struggling there.
I
for a
know.
minute.
I've
I was,
not
like,
really been
talking to
online a
everybody
whole
and
lot.
nobody was talking
It's
to me, and I was like, what is
it's
wrong?
it's a
I put it
lot.
down like twice.
All right, how do
We're
I
good, we're good now.
audio microphone button? This one.
I've never even played it.
Hold to use.
Until last night.
HyperX.
Oh, we're gonna play this game.
Okay.
How's it going?
Wait, is this working? Yeah, working. Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you're seeing a weird green and black bar appeared once only. Oh. Oh, it might have been when I tabbed out of the game. That might have been it.
Oh, Dolores, hello. How's it going?
I wonder how you pick up snowballs.
All the strippers like
I've already had to do 2 shots.
How do you pick up?
Oh, did you? Oh my god.
It's a slow process. We got a lot of people playing today.
How are you picking up the snowball?
E. E is an elephant.
Ah, okay.
And then
Ah,
to throw it.
Oh yeah.
cool. Thank you. I got
You're
him.
gonna be
Let's
dead.
go.
Whoa!
Hi, Kobe.
There's a bear. You're gonna have to help me keep track, Erica, because
Oh god, you went so far!
Stop
You
hitting
went
me.
so far. Renee, how's it going?
How's fun? Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Owl. Hope you have fun too today, whatever you end up doing. This is my second time playing Crab Game, but only my first time streaming it. I'm super excited. I'm super excited.
I'm in the corner!
My shot is
Run!
and my drink has
You give me,
rum in it.
got you.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man.
Wow, this is what...
Oh hello, Leslie. Are you still grinding on Valorant?
Don't make me hit you.
Oh my god! Is that Punchy? Is that the Punchy TV? What the heck?
Hee
Hee hee. Punchy, Lassie, hello. I need to. Hold on. And yes, I'm tapped out of the game now. If you saw that again, Potion. Crab Game is a lot of fun, gamer. So I had to like extend my chat because I was missing messages. Favorite person? Wait, are you talking to gamer? Boom. No, no. I dodge. I dodge.
People were playing with in our description.
I dodge. I
Yeah, I'm
dodge.
not streaming right now, but
This is complete.
Gang up on whoever they are. Oh man. I know, Punchy. I know, it's been so long. I'm slowly coming back to streaming. Slowly. Let's see. Okay, so I just crouch. How do you? I know there's like a can like run and then. Okay, that's how you do that. I have. It's been so long. Gamer, when did we play this? Or you played it with us, right?
Well, I mean, I can.
It's been a long time.
Sorry.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hear you. I didn't realize there was a radio over there.
Oh man, I lost Quilpy. I don't know where Quilpy went. I know Quilpy doesn't have a hat on though.
Song in the world.
Maybe Quilpy's over here. No? I don't know. I lost her. I lost Quilpy.
Where'd you go?
15 people.
Oh no, wait, maybe Quilpy's up here. Ah, there's
Hey, Mickey, can
Quilpy.
we have random people join? Or our friends?
As soon as everybody gets in here, yeah, I don't see one out.
Okay.
Woo!
I think it's just a new browser. Oh yeah, that's probably it.
Woo! We.
I'm eating rice.
It's like suspended in air.
Then I got popcorn and ice cream after the ride.
Oh man, you played it with Bort like 2 months ago? Yeah, I played it with Bort. So yeah, I guess we were in the same game. I couldn't remember who all played it.
I can't see you.
It was a ton of people though.
What are you two doing over here? Look around.
Sorry, I'm trying to. I have to have the two screens. To do this, so I can.
Oh man. What could be a snowball? Oh.
I haven't even started trying, so don't even worry about it right now.
We're having a lone
No. Oh man. What do you guys think? Will she get me? Will she get me?
I don't know you forever. And I come over and see like you're like leave me alone. Fine, bro.
I missed. Hi, Quinn! Oh my god, Quinn! How are you doing? I'm seeing so many people that I haven't seen like in forever since I haven't been streaming. It's so nice. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
It's so exciting to see everybody.
I think it was gonna work. Number 7 does. It's cool. Okay, good.
Good gamer.
Who are you?
Okay, good.
You've been playing Fortnite a lot? Wait. They have this on Fortnite? Wait, they have Crab Game on Fortnite? I totally missed that comment. I'm so sorry. They have Crab Game on Fortnite now? Like, as like a custom map that somebody did? Cause that's hella dope.
I'm not finding.
If they do, we should play it.
Didn't.
We should all play it. Oh wait, I guess we gotta ready up. How do I? Yes, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I don't even know what mine is, to be honest.
It's Sassy Cassie TV.
Flippy, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
Aw, that's
yeah, yours is
amazing,
Quilpy.
Laura May.
What is my girl?
Where, who?
Pink Baloo. Me. Is it
Oh man.
Pink Baloo?
It's hard to hear with my hat on actually.
Alright.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think that through.
Thanks for telling me.
Hi!
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Nice to
Thank you for coming and playing with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be chaos. Everybody's drinking. So.
Oh man, I would expect nothing less, honestly.
I'm not drinking.
No, I'm not even drinking, and I'm literally dying laughing right now.
I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking.
I'm getting ganged up on.
Hey. Who is this?
What?
Me, Carrie? Is this
It's
Carrie?
green tea. Yeah, it's green tea. Hey, how do you look like
Oh, listen, am I? Yeah, I'm.
Because
Heck yeah. It's called Octo Game.
from it.
You know, Punchy. Anytime, message me. I'll be down. I'll be down. Most of us sleep. Then just wake me up.
I have a question.
Being gone to you, just getting back on Twitch again, trying to find time, lots of work and life stuff. Right? Dude, I totally understand that. I feel like everybody just kind of like dropped off the face of the earth, at least the Twitch earth, like last year, and I just started to come back, including me. It's so nice to see everybody though.
Hey chat, you're beautiful, amazing people.
I think she's added something.
I've been doing okay. Glad to hear you've been doing alright and staying busy. Lots of life changes. I moved and in a better spot now. Better life situation. And slowly getting back into everything. I have not gotten COVID, knock on wood, since beginning of this year, so knock on wood, it doesn't happen. You have so many points, oh my gosh. How many do you have, Quilpy?
I'm already.
Not Quilpy, I would call you Quilpy, I looked at Quilpy's person over there. Oh, Punchy, how many points do you have?
I gotta join in on
You have it right now? You have COVID right now, Punchy! No! How are you feeling? Are you okay?
I literally
Oh, I forgot to turn off that timer. That's kind of obnoxious. I'm probably not gonna turn it off. I'm gonna turn it down, I think.
Where are you?
Because the GoFundMe for tea is still going on. However, the streamathon is over. You have a baby that you foster? Oh, those foster babies! Oh my gosh, that's so awesome! Fostering is it's like an awesome thing, but it can be super super heart-wrenching. I had a lot of foster kids in my classes when I was teaching, and each and every one of them had such a story behind them. Like, oh man, it made me cry every time.
Thank you.
Oh no, not that. It's timers. Okay. No. Wait, that's not what I clicked on. I clicked on timers. Thank you. Alright, I'm gonna turn that time interval
That's Katie.
up to, let's do every 25 minutes. Save it. Alright. Got that, we got that.
What is that?
Oh, ew, wait, you pick up one. I want to see.
That's Grandma. I can't see your face.
Oh man. You end up in the wait, you end up in the hospital? Punchy! Oh my god. You're doing much better now, but it was really bad and you're oh my god. I'm so glad that you're doing better. Punchy. Oh my god.
You're number 2.
That's terrifying.
Kimmy, where are you?
Did you get like the new variant, or like do they know? I don't know like how like advanced the testing is, so like know if they could like test which variant it is or anything. You have no idea? Oh man. Crazy. That's crazy though. I'm glad that you're doing better though. That's really scary. Girlfriend! Girlfriend! Girlfriend!
Yay, Santee stream.
Oh my god, I know it's been forever. How are you, girlfriend? It's so awesome to see your update posts in Discord. I love seeing those. Keep posting those, by the way. Keep posting those. It's so awesome to see everybody's journey and updates.
Don't push me.
Oh man, oh man.
I have good accuracy. That was amazing.
Even your eyes move. That's creepy.
Except for like
No, 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 no. Ah, you got me.
I just shot caught you in the nut.
Okay, we have 16 out of 40.
No.
Okay. Oh, Heather's 15 out of 40. Heather.
Oh.
Heather, hear me?
You do that for your mind allowed you to remember things? Wait. Do what? Do what? Do what? What were you doing? Oh god, we're starting the game! Oh man. See, now I can't remember things. Post updates? Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I don't know what we're doing.
Avoid the giant.
Okay, don't get in lava. Oh! Don't go in that either. Oh god!
Oh shit.
Oh god! Oh my god!
Yeah, and then you want to get as high as you possibly can. Just to get some leverage.
Okay.
Oh man, okay. Ah!
Oh no.
We should go over here then, right? I think so.
That was so close. Hey, no, I'm not ready.
Okay. 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 This is so chaotic!
Like, was trying to murder me.
Oh man, this is so chaotic! Look at all these dead bodies! I'm doing alright, girlfriend. You're doing well. Getting the end of your holiday vacation though? Oh no! Man, when vacation ends, it's so sad. Tile dive. Tile drive? What do we do? Oh no. Oh, we got okay, I'm green team, I'm green team. Okay. Get rid of all the other collars. Get rid of all the other collars. They have to die.
Okay, I'm blue team.
They have to die. No, get out of here. No. This is mine. This is all my collars. Get out of here.
Oh.
I might have to turn up the.
Green team. Green team.
Oh man.
Green team.
Okay.
Green
Alright. Look at these panels. Got it. Let's go. Let's go.
Go blue! Blue team is whipping up. I'm keeping the.
Oh man. Oh wow, we are winning hard. Look at that. We're green team on the right hand side. Look at that. Amazing. No. Oh god. Okay. Okay. Alright. Get rid of these red tiles. What is this? Red's not allowed. Oh no! Now we're losing! Oh heck. Oh no. Okay. We got this. Don't worry. Oh fuck! We don't got this! We made it to round 2, folks. We made it to round 2. Off to a good start. Off to a good start.
Oh my god.
The floor is lava. Let's see. Yeah, warm up game. That's what it is, gamer. Warm up game. Oh man, this looks like Hexagon, but like the ice one. Like the ice version of Hexagon. Oh my god. Oh! Yeah, thin ice. It looks like that. We got this. Explodes, right? Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna do a stream marker for that. Oh wait. There we go.
Oh, no.
Hit the wrong button.
Did I lock out?
Wait, there's only 2 players left? Oh man, we got Feisty. Who's the other one? Lady Violence. Lady Violence and Feisty. Who's gonna win? Who do you guys think is gonna win? Between those 2 people.
Where are you, Feisty?
Oh man. Oh, they got horns! Ooh, the bomb one. That's a tough one for a final. That's a tough one.
Nope. You don't need me. Nope.
Don't you want this pretty bomb, Feisty?
No, I don't want no pretty bombs. No pretty bombs.
Oh! They just go in the... They just kill themselves? It's in the water! Oh man, hey, I got a box! Yo, I got a Christmas box! Pog? Let's go! Alright, how do we open this? I think we gotta like wait till we get to the room. Alright. Inventory, box,
Hey, Mickey.
open.
Okay, first.
Oh, we got another orange!
Doing good?
I already have one!
Okay, go ahead and give the code to the front.
Oh wait, now I have a Santa's hat.
Alright.
Wait, now I'm confused.
Want to come play? Go ahead.
Oh, I got an orange Santa's hat and an orange party hat. Got it. I want to put on the Santa's hat because I am Santasia.
How does it look?
Right here.
I'll put the code in the
Nikki's right there.
mod chat.
And the blonde.
Oh man. Oh, they have different hairs.
I feel like I got a mullet.
Hi!
You have a
Hi.
That looks like eggnog.
I do, yes.
How are
you?
Gigi.
You like it?
Hair.
Are you into it?
Very
Okay.
cute.
I can't believe it's done to you and me, but
Oh man.
A little bit of gel on
I can't tell who's talking at all.
Yeah, it looks hot.
I can't tell at all who's talking.
How do you
This game is so much fun, Punchy. It's free, I'm pretty sure too. So if you want to play, at some point you should download it.
Yeah. I don't think I have a
And get a big group of people together. Get like the old Among Us group together. That'd be dope. Wait, they added that. They added that.
Inventory.
Oh man, I didn't realize they added like to show who is ready and stuff. That's so cool. Who did that? Who did that?
Continue.
Taco.
I didn't,
Hey.
it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Wait, who's in the tree?
Do you like my hat? You
Oh
like
my gosh, you get inside the
I
tree.
do.
I need to watch out for talking.
I got a new hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
You're pretty sexy too.
Look, Mickey, I got a new hat.
thank you.
Oh hey.
Oh.
Can't even take.
Yeah. Rude.
Sounds are good.
Rude.
Sound. Are we able to turn people's voices down? Do we know?
No.
Look at me.
Oh, man.
There we go.
Katie, I might be. Maybe
Yeah, you think it'd be good? Yeah, Punchy? It'd be so awesome. And I like that the Discord that we used to use is like kind of dead. But I wonder if we could revive it. Get everybody together for a game of crab game.
I told Shelby Lou that I was gonna.
Crab game is great. Gamer, by the way, how was your trip? How was your trip to go see people? Just living vicariously through all your Snapchats. Snapchats and Instagram posts. You're too sus. Who's too sus? Who is it?
Okay.
Oh, me?
A lot of people. Oh!
I'm just gonna hide under this tree.
Yes.
I think the only person I know on there is Quilpy. And then the other person I thought was joining was somebody from Quilpy's community, but looks like they're not up here. Or they have a different Discord name. Or a different Steam name. One of the two. One of the two. Oh man. The quietness. Oh, it's a countdown timer. Alright guys. What round do you think we're gonna make it to this time? You think we'll make it past the second one? I think we'll make it at least around 2. Trip was amazing to say the least if we're disregarding the COVID scares. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The COVID scare is no bueno. But I'm glad that you're okay at least. Birthday will still helped out a ton for it. Oh, what does Stone do to help out?
But if you want to, you can.
How do you?
What up?
Oh man, I kind of. Oh.
Oh,
Wait.
I've got a sword!
Can't see. It's hard to see with the glare.
This is a lot. Who's that? Who's that? Actually, you know what? Sweet Tea, I can't kill you. No.
No, don't kill me,
Sorry, Sweet Tea, run, get out of here.
Oh no, I have a little knife.
Don't turn around, Mickey. Don't turn around. Oh my god, I'm gonna die.
I got a sword!
Oh yeah, Chris, I remember you were talking crap in the chat, man. Oh my god, it's brutal!
Oh man, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of there. I didn't realize that we could take damage too with the sword, man. Oh man, oh man!
Why is it taking so long?
Oh my god, there's dead bodies!
I'm gonna get your chicken!
Oh man! No, I died! Alright, so we didn't make it to round 2. Can't wait to finish your last semester and finally get to travel. Oh my god! Punji! We should all do like some sort of meetup. I know there's gonna be like some sort of Midwest meetup at some point. I don't know when or how many of you are here, but there's gonna be a Midwest meetup at some point. Sometime this year. Probably after COVID calms down a little bit, I would hope.
Oh god. Oh god. Okay, we run? Is that what we do?
Yeah, Gamer, I'm glad to hear that your trip went really well. It was fun. It looked like so much fun to see everybody. It looked like so much fun. Also, what is this? W secured. Oh, this is just like an obstacle course.
It would help if I'd played this before. I would have known that.
Oh man.
Let's go, baby!
Punchy, what part of the US are you in? Don't just like give a state or anything, but like what general vicinity? Like
Oh my god,
south,
the lady
east,
flying
west,
past me.
north, midwest. Oh man. Why is this just Fall Guys? This is crazy. Oh, Taco Man. By the way, if you jump off or get knocked off on this point, you can still die. even if it says that you win, you can still not win. Mid-ish East Coast. Got it. So you're over this way. You're over this way. Oh man. One more person. Who's gonna be it?
I can't do much pressure.
Who's gonna get it?
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
Oh wait, they're all stuck back here.
Okay. Okay.
You got
Oh
Oh, they're gonna die.
man. I like the commentary from up here. Oh, they're gonna die. Is that little Basty Cheers all the memories you downloaded one of your VODs? Wait, gamer. So I definitely didn't even know that you streamed during it. I was watching for your streams and everything. I never got a notification for it. I saw that you did like a 20-minute stream or something. I'm gonna go back and like watch through the VOD because it sounds like a great time.
I'm sorry,
Also,
I
was
love you,
Rob?
man.
Did Rob bring like the thicken up stuff and like make everybody like thicken their stuff up? It also wasn't alcohol.
You're very close to not being
Because I'm very curious what they were thickening up.
Okay, well we have 8
It was
seconds,
hilarious
so-
watching those videos.
Wait, we have 8 seconds? Where do you see that? 3 seconds? Oh no, okay. That was...
Oh my god.
Oh man, you live a couple hours before midnight. Got it. That's probably why I didn't see it, cause I was asleep. I was asleep at midnight your time. Wait, did one of the 3 that made it get knocked off? Oh no! Oh no! You just see his little foot sticking out. Oh man. Rob brought that stuff. Oh god. I'm definitely gonna watch. I'm gonna have to watch your VOD. I will definitely watch it. I'm glad that you downloaded it. It's gonna be some long-lasting memories for sure. All those pictures, the VOD, the videos that you have.
Hilarious.
How do I open
Are we
a
playing?
The picture you and Boyzar is so cute. Oh
Somebody
man.
just like hit me farther up
Thank you
here.
for that
Thank you.
100 bits.
I don't know
Thank
who
you for
that
the
was.
500 bits. My challenge was to kill 2
Hey yo! Loyal, what is up? What is up? Other than the ceiling, hopefully a ceiling.
Hey.
What's up? What's up?
Amanda.
Yeah, can you
Oh, we got 19 people now. That's crazy. Hello.
Shoot the crap out of you. Hello? Hi.
see that?
I did the what? Blah. Yes, I did.
Is it a random or a custom? It's a custom game. We have a custom lobby of a bunch of people right now.
I just bought a
Oh my
It's a
god.
bunch of streamers and their communities. I don't know if we're allowed to invite people. I'll ask next round. Lava dump. Lava dump? Wait, is this where? Oh my god! Okay. Okay.
Go in the light.
Oh my god! Okay. I got it. Okay, we're good. We're Gucci. We're not Gucci. Oh no! Oh, don't push me. Oh, it's only over there!
Dark.
A singular square for me.
Oh,
Oh, we made it. We made it.
not nice.
Ah, good job.
Oh man. I'm too kind? Nah. I'm not kind. I like to have fun with friends. I just like to have fun with y'all. Oh wait, what are we doing? What is this? I don't read the instructions. What is this? I have a score though.
You gotta get your hat.
Do I have a hat?
What? Oh, I'm glowing. Okay. Okay, so it's like keep away.
Jimmy, you have the
It's just
crown.
keep away.
I know.
I have a crown?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh man. Okay. No, you're not coming up me. No, you're not coming after me. Heck off. Heck off. Oh, lava! No! Ah!
Nervous. Uh-oh. I feel very alone right now.
Oh man. Okay. Okay, I'm good.
What's happening?
I didn't even realize there was lava!
I can't see the scoreboard.
Oh
stole that. Get
No
back
slurs.
here.
Yeah. Okay.
Get the
Yeah.
sound back.
No. This is the streaming community, so
Ah!
gotta keep it TOS friendly, you know.
Ramrod.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah, fall in that lava.
I'm just gonna sit here.
Gordy.
I'm just gonna sit here. This is what I'm doing.
Gordy. Gordy.
Oh man.
The true queen
Get
needs her crown
him!
back.
Get him!
Queen needs her crown, Gordy.
If you mention you're Elon Musk's son, noted. Noted. Hey, yo, you gonna get that brain implant though?
Oh god. Oh god.
Oh no! Oh man, there's 4 of us left now? Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Tiny Town. Tagged with a stick. Wait, obtain a stick. Tag players at the end of a round are eliminated. So if you have the stick, you gotta run. Right? You gotta like tag people. Tag the people if you have the stick. Okay, I don't have a stick. I don't have a stick. Alright. Run for tag players. Tag others to with it to avoid. Okay. Okay. No. 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 Stay away from me. I'm up here. I'm up here. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm hiding. I'm hiding.
Oh god, this is not good. Oh, you have a stick too.
No, 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 no,
Oh my god. Oh my god, I don't like this.
no, fuck! Go away!
Okay, okay, I'll take that loss.
Oh man, I'm so close! I was Drax. I was Drax. Oh, is another pick up snowballs from the pile, hit the pillars. Okay, 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 okay. Avoid getting hit by other people's balls, winky face. Alright, where are they? Where are they? Ah! Did I get him? Got him! I got him! I got him! Wait, do I win? Do I win? Oh my god, I won! Oh my god, I won! Holy! I got 3 crab boxes. Or a 3-star crab box, I think, is what that means. But yeah! Holy!
Oh gosh. That was crazy.
Good game, guys!
Murdered so fast so many times already.
I got you. I died on the first time. Wow.
Alright, what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get?
Yay, Jimmy, you were so close.
What do I get? I got a headband!
How do I act?
Nice! I got a cream-colored headband. In 1970, when Obama was a little boy, he said, "Kid, you're gonna be president one day." And the rest is history. Oh my god! All right, I gotta find the leader. Where's the leader? Where's the leader chick?
Oh, I got you.
Are we allowed to invite people from our community?
Kick you out.
Yeah, where's Gordy? Gordy. Gordy.
Are we allowed to invite people?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, fill up the room.
All right. All right. Well, you want in? Does anybody else want in?
You can have like a boatload of people in this.
Does anybody else want in?
40.
Loya, I'm gonna message you on Discord. Hopefully it doesn't crash my computer. For the love of God, please don't crash my computer. Disclaimer.
On then.
Alright. Oh! We started! Oh no! Oh no, we started! Ah!
I don't know.
You take it.
Do I have a bomb? No. I don't have a bomb.
Alright, alright.
Each other. We gotta hit the people with the bombs so they don't come up here.
Somebody just explode.
Oh, someone else has a bomb now.
Okay.
Okay, they're in red. I can
Oh,
see
no!
them. Okay, okay, okay.
No, we're
That's karma! That's so karma!
What are you doing?
Oh my god. So.
That's such karma. Oh my god.
Definitely gonna spawn with a bomb like any second, and I'm gonna be ready to take you out.
I just fell to the bottom before.
Please, I want to live.
It's okay, Heather. Just take a
Okay,
seat.
cosmetic
We're fine.
Okay,
Here,
okay.
grab
all right.
snowballs.
Okay, how do you
Oh god, oh god! Okay, they're over there again, they're over there again.
Hey, Ramrod, look out.
Whoa! Oh my. Ooh woo.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Just jump. Okay.
Heather's officially a murderer.
Oh! Wait, okay. Ah!
Oh god.
I can't do this. This is too much pressure.
No pressure. It's okay. It's okay. You know, you did what you had to do. They don't exist.
Alright, Loyal, I know you saw the code. Whenever we're out of this game, I think is when you can enter the code in.
All right.
But I think we have to be out of game first. Hey, we did it! Let's go! Let's go!
Corpses.
So.
Yee yee yee. Push someone else to steal their hat. Gotta hold. Okay, gotta hold the hat. Hold the hat. Don't get in the lava. Get the hat.
Good luck.
Give me your hat.
Thanks, Taco. Bye.
Oh, me.
I got a hat and I took it and I ran and it's mine. It's my hat. Not allowed to have it. Oh man.
I don't know how to play this one.
Oh man. No, 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 no!
Hello. There's a person following me, I think.
No,
Okay, no, they're gone, dude. It's just
no, 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 no.
Sweet.
Stay away
This side, this side.
from me! They took my
I
hat!
just stared at them. I was just like, oh.
No,
you're-
I
you
hit
come to
them!
take my
I hit
crown,
them!
which
Why
is
did I
great.
get it? Oh man!
Let's stay over here.
Give me your hat, give me your hat!
There's 2 ladders, one on each
Give me your hat! No!
One over here.
But if anybody else wants to join, let me know. I'll give you the code.
Yes, thanks,
I'll give
bye.
you all the code. Just let me know.
I just want to borrow it for like 69 seconds. That's like it. Okay, bye.
No!
Do I have one?
Come on! It's ice level on balloons? Wait, ice level on balloons? Wait, oh, like the monkey game? Like balloons TD? Ah, no! No, get away from me! Get away from me! Get away! No, 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 no!
Where'd they all go?
Bye. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Not watching crowd. Not watching
No, my mic is not working in game right now. I have it on push to talk in game. I have it on push to talk, so when I hold down a button, it'll work.
Okay, well here we go.
I mainly I don't know if your mic is working in butt. You forgot to get the oh, that's fine. Also, is it actually free? Because I've been telling people it's free, but I don't remember if it's actually free. If it's not free, let me know. But yeah, if you download it, feel free to join us. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh god. No, 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 God, God, no, God, no, God. No. Okay, 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 okay. No, don't hit me. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man! Oh man, oh man, oh man! Oh man, 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 oh man! Ah!
Yeah.
Turn it on? I know I could turn it on, but also I'm streaming and I feel like it would be rude to the other streamers. Wait, Seeker, I have to Seeker get a, wait. Into a hider, secret fails to eliminate somebody, they'll be eliminated. Okay. But no, I feel like it's rude to the other streamers if I'm a seeker. I'm a seeker. But I feel like it'd be rude to the other streamers if I just like openly talk in their game. Hi. Wait, are they all up top? Hi. Oh no. Got him! I got him! Back! 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 Ah! That's such a power play just to kill the other seeker? What? You're behind your best behavior now? Okay, okay.
Hey.
Yeah, no worries, Potion, if you can't. Yeah, I know theirs is on too, but some of them also have a push to talk on. I don't know. I don't know. There's some people that said that everything is like way too loud, so I feel like it's especially me screaming, I feel like it's better if I don't have it on all the time. Wait, I'm looking at my captions. Oh man, I'm looking at my captions right now. It says something about a dino. I don't remember saying anything about a dino. Oh man, that was fun. Let's see if I get a box. Oh wait, Loyal, you got in? Nice! I didn't realize you could get in mid-game. Good job, good job. I also wasn't looking at like anybody's names at all.
That was so funny.
Give me help.
What? I am too.
Alright, now I gotta find you. Now I gotta find you. Where are you?
I'm going through a lot of emotional stress right
Clark is coming
Dan,
in.
it wasn't me.
So-
It wasn't
Where
me,
are
Dan. It
you?
was totally you. Totally you. It wasn't me. Dan, I
Nope,
love
that's
you.
not
It wasn't
you.
me.
Where are you?
Okay, so we're waiting for.
Are you? Wait, oh god.
Jonesy, you coming in?
Oh, there's.
Wait.
Hello?
Are you just like a number?
Hello? Good job, guys.
Look, that one game, Gordy pushed me off the edge.
Wait, was that you?
When the game
Oh hey, I found you!
Hello.
What's up?
Unbelievable,
With
right?
the
Like,
game with
people
the
are
thing
right.
falling from the sky is terrifying.
Oh yeah, that one, that's
You got custom hairs.
Terrifying.
Just trying to press the button.
I think
Alright, alright.
Oh no!
Everybody has like reindeer antlers. They look so cute.
Oh god, they
Hello?
go so fast.
Hello? Someone said my name.
Wow, this is
I
intense.
just don't know who I heard.
Sometimes funnier watching the app.
Yeah, just fall damage.
Wow.
Who
Bam.
was it?
Wow.
I got you.
Hey,
I got you.
Throw a snowball at me.
I thought all the snowballs at you.
That's assault.
Got you. No! Ah, you missed. You missed.
Ever.
No! Got him. Block drop. Watch out for following blocks. Alright. Be respectful. No pushing.
high ground.
You hear that? No pushing, Loyal. No pushing.
Get locked. Commencing attack.
We're doing it again?
Okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
again, it's game time, Vaughn.
Alright, alright.
Alright.
Oh god, we're already in.
Oh wow, that
Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
that is terrible.
Oh my god! That was ridiculous! Holy! Erica! Erica, do you want to join? Miggy! Wait, whose face is that? Is that Ducky's face? What the heck? Stay on the platforms, don't touch the floor. Okay. Okay. Oh god.
No.
How are y'all doing? If anyone wants to join, just let me know and I'll give you the code after this game. Oh man.
I probably should
Oh,
start
man.
using inward, right? Is that what
Oh
you
man.
It's random.
Oh, no.
No. No. Don't you even. Don't you think about it. I see you. I see you over there. Oh god. Oh god. I'm gonna stay away from people over here. Oh no.
In a second.
Oh no.
I am on edge. If you knock me off, you're not my friend. I'm going to.
Oh god. Ah!
Stone.
Let's go, baby.
No! No! You okay? You can in a few minutes. Good. I will give you the code real fast. Ah.
How do we know if we have the hat?
Okay. Okay. You got.
No,
Oh,
I
hat.
obviously
Hat.
had the
Hat. Hat.
It's
Hat.
not-
Hat. Loyal. Loyal. No. Loyal. Give me your hat.
Parkour.
Loyal, your hat.
Parkour.
Oh, who did that? Come back.
Give me your hat back.
A hat. No! I need a hat.
Go, bye.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Give me your hat. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
Oh.
Come here,
mother-
kitty.
Oh god.
Thank you
Oh
very
god. Oh god. Let me live. Let me live.
Taking a crown.
Let me live. Oh man. All right. I see that little cheeky bugger over there. Okay, I'm living currently. I'm currently living. Currently living. Currently living. Okay, okay. God, this is getting so much tougher.
No.
No, 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 no,
Stop inviting
no, no, no. It's getting so much tougher. Loyal. Oh man, that was tough.
No.
Oh, gotta get them the steak. Okay, tagging them with the steak. Tag them with the steak. Who has it? Who has the steak? I do not have the steak. No, 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 no. You ain't tagging me with no steak.
Oh, you're. Sorry.
No, 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 no. Is there another stair?
Hey, take him, not me. Oh my god.
Whack.
Oh man. Oh man.
The B-hop thing. And I'm not feeling in the mood.
Oh, get him, get. Oh, they
I
missed.
wanna whack ya.
Oh!
Not in a wacky mood.
I'm whacking ya. It's whack time.
I'm whacking here.
How wacky.
Yeah.
Can you just hold this for a
Oh
second?
man, what do you guys think?
Hey, come grab my stick.
You think I'm gonna survive this round? I got 30 seconds left. Got 30 seconds left. I think I can. I think I can do it. Nobody's coming up here. I'm really surprised. It'd be really easy. Oh! Oh, I thought they were just gonna yeet themselves off.
No! I can hold this.
Get him, Loyal. Get him. You got 9 seconds.
Seems to be the end for me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh man! Loyal died. Oh no!
Whack ya.
Oh no! Hide and seek. Seeker has to find and eliminate player. Oh no! There's only one seeker, probably. I'd assume.
Oh no, 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 no.
Oh no! 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 Oh, yeah. I can see you. I can see you over here. No! 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 No!
Ow!
Yes! Okay. Oh no, I've never. I always get out on the first button push. Man, I always get out on the first button. Always.
Blue's true.
Oh man.
I knew it. Red's dead.
Alright. Alright. Oh no!
I knew it. I knew it.
No! Ah! I didn't even get a box! I didn't even get a box for getting second place! What is this? It's rigged! It's rigged, I say! Heckin' rigged.
Exciting.
Erica, if you are ready to join, we are back in the dorm room. Oh god.
Glasses. Wait.
Well, they got light blue bandit mask?
Escape and then go into your inventory.
Ooh.
I got a gray ponytail.
Wanna put that on?
Well, yes.
Shoes.
Ooh.
What else?
Everybody
hands on your feet now.
Fresh lineup, fresh lineup.
Oh my gosh, Mickey, you have a mask. I like your nose.
Tag. Do it. Do it.
I never liked this game.
I love it.
Thank
You're
you.
fantastic.
Oh,
Again.
No, that's me. Go downstairs. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, I got a double shot.
No, get back here. You, yeah.
Watch it.
Yeah, watch this. Ready?
Got you.
Flying kick to the face. Yeah!
I wish I could see the
Oh gosh. You cry at the club. 5 Odin spammers and 1 deathmatch. Oh god. 5 Odin spam butts and 1 deathmatch. Spam butts. I like it. That sounds awful though. That sounds absolutely awful. I'm so sorry. Oh. Okay, we're going.
I don't like that.
We're going. Front. No, god. Okay. I don't like this either, guys.
IT's mine.
I can't go this way.
Oh man.
Oh god.
No, stop knocking me! Stop, fuck! I'm gonna go over here. No, then come up this side now.
Just keep jumping.
Fuck! I ran into it.
I'm so bad at this. I don't like this one.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm definitely not.
Okay.
Oh god. Oh god. This is stressful.
Okay. No! I was there! Oh man!
Sorry.
No!
Teach me how to press buttons! Oh my god, I almost made it!
No!
I did it! I didn't do it! God damn it! I died for falling into the water!
Up 2. Perfect.
God, how we get through
Unstoppable
here?
now.
I don't know.
Well, I guess we're out. Oh man. Did y'all think it's gonna win? Oh, that's what the bandit mask looks like? That's so cute! Oh man.
Listen to the screen.
Oh, there goes Jimmy.
What if I ate chocolate on stream? Sadly, don't have any Chips Ahoy cookies to dip in water, but have chocolate.
We win. We'll leave.
Pulling up stuff on my phone because I need to see things. Okay, there we go.
The screen.
40.
Hi.
Hey, Gordy,
Let's see, how
don't
much
fall off
longer do
this
you
time.
have on the battle
Gordy.
pass? Like, how much more do you need to do? I might be down to play some after stream, potentially, we'll see. Did they just knock somebody off? Oh my god. The arm just flew onto... Oh man. Alright, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Oh, they pushed the boy off! Oh no!
You guys stay away from me.
Oh man. Oh!
Look, this is
Oh man,
homophobic.
Taco almost died. This taco person is ruthless! They're trying to push everybody. Oh my gosh. They almost died like 3 times. Who's the other person? Oh, they died as soon as I switched to them! No! Oh no! 2 days left and you're on page 9. You're alone today. Aw. Let's see, I'll join you hopefully after stream. We'll see. We'll see what time I get off. And how much time I have left. All the roomies are playing Twilight Imperium tonight, which is like a potentially 8-hour long game. So they're probably gonna be down there for a while. Hey, 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 hey.
Yeah, I may be calling. This
But-
is too much for
Gordy,
me.
look
One more
back.
calling it
Back.
good.
Look,
Oh my
follow
God.
all those people. There you go.
Oh my god.
Wait,
Yeah.
Taco.
That was a lot of people.
Boy, Taco. I got murdered, bro. Did you kill me last round?
Should I put my stream name on should I put my Twitch name on Steam? That's why I'm a Des. I kinda want to. I don't know. Ask Santasia. I'm sure if you type in Santasia on Twitch, my name will come up if I'm live, right? Right, that's how it works.
You know, I say that like all the time now, like because.
Somebody should test that, see if that's how it works.
Taco is too good at this. He is.
Is it
Yeah.
not?
Hide and go seek. Oh no. Okay. Alright. We got it. We gotta.
Or not be eliminated.
We gotta win. We gotta win.
Nope, this is nice. This is nice.
If I just hide here. Think you be able to see me here? Hey.
No! No!
Whoa! I should have warning! Oh my god! No, they're chasing you and I died! Oh my god, how does this work?
I don't know who that is, but their accent is amazing. I fucking love that accent. Holy. Nobody's coming over here though. There's only one seeker? I'm surprised. I'm actually very surprised. Was that an actual dog? Or an endgame dog? Wait, was the seeker AFK? Oh man. That'd be crazy if they were AFK. Also, how long have the boxes been a thing in this game? I don't remember there being boxes last time. Also, I really want the ice one where you have to like go across the ice bridge. Ah! Wait, did I not hit them? No, get back here.
I want my hat, please. I would like to keep my hat, please.
Oh man, I gotta get up here though. Alright, alright.
Oh no.
I would like a hat. Who has a hat? For little old me. Come here. No, I got them! Why didn't it go?
Oh no! I just killed
There.
myself!
I got it! Ah! No! Did I get it? I don't think I got it. Oh, they got it back! Come here! Come here! I'm gonna die. I'm so gonna die. I'm so gonna die! Oh no, 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 no. I'm here. I'm here. Don't worry. Why did that scare me so much? What the hell?
On this map. I would never make it past.
Was I watching you? No, I wasn't watching you, but I saw the aftermath of you falling. It was very sad. Also, how are they so good at those? How are they so good at those platforms? Oh man. Pardon my eating. I didn't eat dinner yet. This person plays way too much. Gordy is an OP. Oh man. Dude, this person's OP too. Damn. Loyal, no! Oh man. Poor Void just got wrecked in the chat. For those of you who didn't see it, Loyal asked Void when the last time was that they touched grass. What's grass is his reply. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I just sent you the code too. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. And yes, I'm still playing the crab game. I've only been live for like an hour, so probably gonna go for at least another hour. This was so much fun. Alright, now's your chance to join in.
Damn.
Oh, they have a clown nose! I thought that was a Binky at first. I thought that was a Binky.
Pink, you killed me! Get him away. Shoot. Shoot. Shoot.
Wait, do they have a mask? They have a doctor's mask.
Hit that button.
I got him. No, no, well, no, well, no.
Into the lava.
I know it did.
Hey, where'd he go? Oh, he's up there. Lyle, no! Lyle, no! Come back! Come back! I didn't mean it! Come back!
Listen here, real quick.
Yeah?
We're gonna have to win one of these now.
Look how what?
We're gonna have to win one of these for your community side. We're gonna have to win one of them. You won one already. That's good.
Yeah?
We're gonna need, get more points on the board.
Yeah. Wait, is there an actual point board?
Ooh, dodgeball.
I think I'm gonna have to turn the game volume up. I can't hear it. I can barely hear them. Wait, what are we doing? Snowball?
I'm really
Before I could even tell what we were doing, there's like, Nat, you're out. Also, since I don't stream this early that often, the light that you see behind my head is my tortoise's cage light. Oh my god, the hands though. Look at the hands.
Oh, I just realized. Oh no.
I got somebody.
Oh man, Loyal's out too.
Ram.
Holy. Let's see, I'll play after stream. I'll play after stream. I want a snowball. Wait, can you throw them at your own team? I wonder if you could kill your own teammates. Also,
I can barely move on this ice.
I like how it shows your name and not your screen name. Nice. Is that because we're Steam friends? Oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna be doxing so many people. Wait, why am I live again? Hello? Oh man. Oh no. Wait, we're all alive again? What?
The skeletons from the long distance is left because I.
Oh, I'm alive again?
For me, it's always been hard for my vision, so. I like it. Oh my god, I'm in there.
I'm so confused.
What do we have to do? Do we
We have
just
to
hit
kill each
anybody
other
with
with
these?
snowballs.
Oh my god.
No!
With it.
Stop hitting me! No!
Range.
I'm just trying so hard.
Off from range.
Oh, hit the one down.
Actually, not because of work. It's not because of work at all. It's because of my kids.
Oh no.
So when do
I'm
people
so
start
sorry.
dying? I'm confused.
I'm so sorry. I had to kill somebody.
Oh fuck.
I'm gonna murder you, pig! Run away!
Oh no.
Murder me!
Morty, stop it.
Boy, you're getting too close. I don't like
Okay, so people are actually dying now. I don't like this. I don't like this. No, I don't like this.
So nice to me.
I don't like this.
Yes, you are.
You had to go, please! I'm alive! Cordy, don't kill me!
Oh my god. Oh. How long does this go on?
14 seconds now.
Oh no. Oh no, I'm on red. I'm on red. I'm on red.
Calm down. Breathe, Vaughn. Breathe.
Ah!
Oh no!
No.
Hey, I'll leave you.
We did it!
Oh god.
Yeah, I think it was a tie.
Oh my god. Yeah, for you. Yes. Enable streamer mode? No, streamer mode makes it to where names are numbers, I'm pretty sure. And wait for the tag players. Okay.
Just run away from a.
Let's go. Let's go.
Run away from a tagged player.
Oh, don't follow me.
Oh no.
No.
Vaughn?
Stop it.
Vaughn?
Go away. No,
Okay,
turn
I'm
around.
here.
Go, get away from me.
Vaughn!
No.
You said you wanted to play with me.
Oh no. Oh no! Who's gonna be it now? Oh, they're over there. Oh no, they're over there. Are you dead?
Oh god.
Are you dead, Potion? I don't think I saw you at the end of the last round.
Them.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that was tactical.
Oh shit.
Ah! No, 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 no! No, 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 no!
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh god.
No, 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 no!
come on, not me, please.
Tag them, not me! Oh my god! You are dead? Oh god. Oh man. Loyal's alive though. We got 2 people from our community in still. We got 2. Okay. Avoid the falling blocks.
Yes, it does.
Avoid the falling blocks. Avoid the falling blocks.
Don't swear.
Avoid the falling blocks. Avoid the— oh fuck!
Boyd! No, we're not! You! Boyd! No!
Oh god, 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 oh god. Holy!
What?
Bullying.
Sussy slope! Oh man. Race to the finish, don't fall out of bounds, slowest players are eliminated. Okay. Okay, we got this, we got this. Void's gonna be like camping the end, I swear. Let's go. Oh! Let's go!
Ooh, fun. Fun for the full family. Oh my god, I got all the way up.
What? How'd you do that? Loyal's a pro, Loyal's a pro.
He's probably at the end already.
Okay, this is gonna be rough!
Oh my god. Why? There was no need. Look.
Fuck!
Oh.
Man! Okay, okay, fast, 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 gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast. Fuck!
Oh my god.
I know, we're both so
One
close.
game. One game. Oh, look at Void up there. Isn't he so perfect?
I know, Void is literally an algorithm. He's a bot.
My name's Void and I'm perfect.
Oh, dang it! Oh my god! That was such luck.
And I'm gonna.
How do I get up there though? Okay. How do I get up there? Just keep climbing, just keep climbing, just keep climbing, just keep climbing. Just keep climbing, just keep climbing. Oh god, there's someone behind me! Let's go! Let's go! Oh, wait, Loyal, no! Loyal, no! Oh man, oh, not the button! Never gumdrop buttons! Oh man.
Hello? Oh, it's my turn. Alright. What color, Taco?
Blue is true. Blue is true.
Blue is true! Why am I taking his advice? Goodbye, everybody. Ugh.
Oh man. I don't think I've survived this once.
I'll die. Thanks, thanks.
Oh no! This is not great.
Don't do green. Don't do green.
I'm gonna do
Green is
yellow.
sus. Green is sus.
Ah, yeah! Same brain
here
potion,
we go
same
again.
brain,
Here we go.
same brain.
Alright.
Red is dead.
Alright.
You got this, you got
I
this.
love you guys very much. I'm sorry, goodbye. I'm gonna duck away now. Okay,
Oh man, you got it!
we made it.
You did the thing! Oh!
Yes, she's gone, Fantasia. We, you know what? That feels like a win in itself. You know.
I agree, I agree.
Here. Oh! Oh! We did it!
Man! box again. Even they didn't get a box today. Or not today, during that win. For that win. What the heck? Rigged game? Rigged game?
Good job! This was amazing.
You're able to take a god.
Oh my gosh! With us. Thank you so much for the follow.
Give me 1 second to do that.
What are you wearing?
Okay, let's make it. Let me see if I can pronounce your name. Shenanigans. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Hope you enjoy your stay.
Like, Kimmy, look at my mask. Look what I got.
Oh man, oh man.
Stood there and looked at me like I was.
Wait, who got him? Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh.
Do you like my cheeks?
Like my mask.
Oh, team.
You got rosy cheeks.
Aren't I cute?
Oh my gosh.
All right, we got fine. We got fine. We got fine. Potion. Where's he at?
I'm not streaming, so it don't matter.
I swear, does everybody load into the same lobby? I haven't seen Quilpy at all either. Oh, wait, there you are. Hey. Hello.
Oh yeah, here's the team. Here's the team. 1 out of 3.
Do you have your mic on?
Oh, yeah.
Hold a hat. Okay. Snow top hat king. Let's go. We got this. We got this. Wait, do we have stuff on our butts? Oh no, it just was loading in weird. It looked like they had like Christmas trees on our butts. Give me your hat. Give me your hat. Give me your hat. Give me your hat.
Get away from me. Get away from me.
I got it.
No.
I got it.
Over here, Mom. Come here, Mom.
Give it back.
Here.
No, it's okay. I choose not to do that. No, no, no.
All the boys. Boys showing.
Oh man. I'm just gonna run over here real fast. Keep her dropping the follows. Oh, from the Grab Game follows. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Your friends with a lot of people play, so it's nice to meet you. Oh, it's nice to meet you too. Whose community are you in? Oh, you're friends with a lot of people, you said.
I'm coming.
Who are some of the people that you're friends with?
I have one. Oh, I thought I did.
Oh man.
Hey, can I have that back?
Oh man, I've been seeing all those people in here. I know, this is my first time with this group of people. I know Quilpy. So, Quilpy is how I got into this game. And then a few of the people from our community are in here too.
Bye. Somebody clip that. Oh my god.
What happened?
Can we just
You get
jump
it.
into the water?
Stay behind me. Stay behind me.
Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
That's what you get, Tay. That's what you got.
Oh, you know Quilpy? Awesome. Yeah, I've met Quilpy in real life a few times. Quilpy's awesome. Donnie came by. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh my god.
It's nice to
Locked
meet
up.
you.
Boy,
Oh, this one. Oh no.
What?
Yeah, go first, Ray. Go first.
Okay, I nominate.
Oh
Taco
god.
Game first. What just happened?
Did somebody wait?
Oh.
There, 2 people just died.
Okay, so the first one on the right-hand side is real.
Prove it. Well, we do.
Oh,
Well-
alright. Goodbye, Taco. Who wants to be next?
So,
It wasn't. Wait, let's
you wanna
calculate the
rock?
statistics. There's 5 of us.
okay,
How
wait, how many?
much we
1,
are?
2, 3, 4, 5. You know what, guys? You know what? I don't know. Just Loyal looks like you look confident enough to do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
Loyal, you wanna do it?
Anxiety.
I don't know.
How
You
about
walked up
give
to
it
the
a go?
ledge. You're figuring it out.
Yeah, I got it.
Just jumped on the first wrong one.
Nice.
Come on, lad. Here we go.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
alright.
No way.
Alright, I'll go. Oh, you gonna go? Okay.
Oh.
Oh no, I missed the first one! How did that happen?
Wait, do I have to win
Oh,
this?
you're so
to actually
go,
win?
you got it! You got it!
Taco said left in the chat, dude. Taco said.
Jess! Hello, Jess! Wait, Jess, you streamed recently? Wait, what music did you do? What music did you do? I'm curious.
Taco, I trusted you.
I know you did go first! Thank you for going first! You should be the first person every time. 'Cause I feel like that went well. Yeah, what should I call you? What do you want me to call you? Shenanigans. What should I call you? But Quilty is awesome. I definitely agree. Definitely a great person.
That wasn't aimed at you.
Oh, Taco! Damn it!
Where be the person?
You need to go to audio, and then you need to turn
Oh, hey.
microphone usage to voice.
Found you.
So you're using your microphone.
Your lips aren't moving.
Make sure your input devices, whatever.
Your hand? Your hand looks broken.
Your hand looks broken.
Yeah, like 3 seconds before the next one.
Oh my god, these hands! That was a throw and a half. Oh, you gotta go. Alright, Loyal. Thank you for playing with us. Have a great rest of your day. It was lots and lots of fun.
I love playing with
You
all
tried
these
to make a
people that are
song and
amazing.
mix it with your
You're
My Chemical
amazing.
Romance? Ooh!
You're amazing. Hi, Heather.
Wait, why are we in
Heather,
here?
Wait, what do you mean it failed? I'm sure it looked great. Or sounded great? Yeah. I'm sure it sounded great.
Oh god.
Alright, Taco, I'm not gonna murder you, bro. Just stay away from me.
Someone has a gun! Oh my gosh! I just have a sword! Ah! Someone has a gun!
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Hide in the corner?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Just hide in the corner?
We're together. We're together.
I just keep seeing blood particles! Oh!
Brothers and sisters. You watch left, I watch right.
Vicky, arouse you, leaving streams up. Oh, thank you so much! That's so nice of you!
He comes over here.
Have a great day!
Get him.
Yeah, end them.
Ah! No, 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 no,
Left, my right. There's somebody over here.
Get out of here!
No, feisty, stop.
God fucking...
I'm like,
Did I have a sword? Did I have a sword and I didn't know it? Fuck!
You're fine. You're
God,
fine.
oh, I can go out of the map. I can go out of the map.
Oh my god. Pink. Who did it?
Oh, I like the Christmas lights. Those are cute. Wait, where is everybody?
I'm gonna die! Taco, no!
Oh no.
Away from everybody. Oh my god, Pink, you scared me. I'm sorry.
No, Pink!
Oh my god,
Are you
Potion's
alive?
alive!
Oh my god, thank god. Thank god.
What the hell? What the hell, man? I haven't played this one yet. I want to play this one so bad. Is that a chip? Is that a freaking chip? I want the chip. No, it's a pizza! I want the pizza!
Face is creepy as heck.
Oh!
Oh god.
People are dying! People are dying!
What the
Damn,
fuck?
this pizza looks tasty.
There's a piece of pizza right here.
That's not fun.
Dude, it looked like his character just did a front flip. What the
Don't touch my
heck?
Pizza, okay?
What? That was bullshit!
Oh my god! Wait, what is this person's face? What? The baby's face, what is this? Oh! Oh man!
It looks like Mo from the Three Stooges.
Somebody just said it looks like Mo from the Three Stooges. I think it looks like the guy from Home Alone. That's what you get for cutting people up? Wait! What do you mean? Are you in the game, Erica? Oh my god, I didn't realize you were in the game!
Yes, you didn't.
You were? Oh my god. LOL, you butt. Oh my god, Butt's butt. I love Butt's butt.
We're gonna hack the 3 of us?
Well, when we respawn, I'm gonna find you. And I'm gonna smack you with a snowball.
Come here, Vaughn.
Oh no.
My hat.
I wonder if hitting people with a snowball actually
Give me that.
counts.
Yeet.
I don't think it does.
Yeet. No, God. I tried to
No,
trick
it doesn't.
you.
Okay.
It didn't work
You didn't
out.
trick me. You got a big brain.
Boom.
Oh.
Oh my God, Pink.
You wish.
Oh. Oh.
Let's
You
go,
almost
come
had
here.
it.
Gibby.
Y'all see that, right? It looks like a Christmas tree, like a star on the butt or something.
No.
That's so weird. Do we have tails? Do I not know about this? Oh man.
There she goes.
There she
There
goes
she go-
again. Oh my god, I got a box. Oh, Erica, you got a 3-star box. Look at you go. Oh man, I can't wait to see what's in my box. Yeah, you almost did get it. What's in my box? What's in my box? I got a visor. Why are these so bad? These are all so bad. Erica, I see you. Hi, Erica.
I definitely murdered
Hello.
somebody.
I came up from the side, I hit Vaughn, and then I saw Mitch
Meow.
ran around, and I come back and I
Meow.
yeah.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
Trying to maneuver.
Meow. Back. Meow. Meow. Ah! Too many people. Ah! Oh, I gotta ready up. I forgot to ready up. Ah! Bam! I got him from across the room. Oh, the server owner left. Well, I got a box. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Oh no. Well. Huh. I guess. Let me go back to Twitch. Let me see, let me see what we're doing here. Let me see what we're doing here. Sorry for like the little lull in the game right now. Oh man. I wonder, does Kopi know what's happening? Oh, I think the audio wasn't working for the main streamer. The person who was running it. Oh, Kopi's not even playing it anymore. Okay. So I wonder if I just like if I ask in chat, maybe? We'll see, we'll see.
Hello?
The voice you're hearing is the streamer. By the way, the person that's streaming is this person right here.
Okay. Hello?
Oh wait, hold on. That's not their full name. That's not their full name. I'm such a bad person. Hold on. There you go. That's their full that's their full name.
Okay.
Oh, I heard for the shoutouts on here.
I gotta get the code out to everybody again. Here we go. On our way. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun.
Oh man.
Everybody.
I love their hair. I love their hair.
Here, I'll put it here.
We have a oh, Sassy Cassie! Thank you so much! Thank you so much for the
I
follow.
accidentally hit leave. I was trying to fix my audio and I accidentally hit leave.
Okay. I think that's the code. I'm sending it out to you guys real quick.
Yeah, I booted you.
I had like an existential crisis. It was cool.
Fine game.
I'm here.
Lobby code. Join lobby.
Hey, your glasses.
Alright. I have to exit their stream.
Everybody.
Otherwise, I will probably crash.
Did he get an error message?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
You guys should have.
Whacking time. Come here.
You should have the code now. Erica and Potion.
No, not
If anybody else would like in, let me know. And I can give it to you too.
Pink.
What?
Whack.
Yes, hi. It's me.
Whack.
Get him to
Whack.
everybody.
Whack.
I'm here. There's 13 of us. How many
What?
were there before?
I stole it from your chat.
There was 21 of us total.
I think
Yeah.
we're stream,
Whack.
we're stream
I mean,
friendlies,
Mickey.
though.
Oh.
Wait, is Erica in?
Fine.
Is Erica back in?
Okay, I
don't see Erica.
Everybody.
Oh, there's Erica. Erica, you have a clown nose. I like your clown nose. It reminds me of Binkies.
I'll have to see it.
Sorry guys, I accidentally hit the leave button.
Come here, lady. It's time to get whacked.
I just touch press the button.
Oh, thanks. Come here.
Wrong button.
Whack it.
Hold that game to everybody.
Look like you're what?
Did,
No,
okay.
that guy looks like my plumber. Look.
Did Amanda get the code?
Cleaning my
Drop
drains.
light.
Oh,
I'll clean your
feeling a
pipes.
little dizzy from this.
Come over here, Poppy. Clean your pipes.
Oh,
Come on.
Just stand
They've
still
been
and
cleaning
we're
up
not
more
playing.
trees.
Just stand still and we're not playing.
I'll clean all the
Yeah,
pipes.
it'll help.
All the pipes.
Oh man. I'm gonna stand in the corner. I'm gonna stand in the corner.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Come
the
on, back
team.
up in the corner. You think you're gonna get out of it?
Yeah, I'm out of it. See?
I
See?
gotta play this game.
You are back in this. You are not out of it.
I'm totally out of it.
Make me a little nauseous. Hold on, I'm gonna go up here. It says it's a little nauseous for sure.
Excuse me.
Did all your people come back? Did everybody come back? I hope I'm not missing
Yeah,
anybody.
my people are back.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna play like one more, and then we'll probably have to bounce. Cause I'm dizzy.
Alright. Oh, by the way, guys, for the fundraiser stream, y'all made it to, the last goal. So we're gonna be doing a Just Dance stream at some point. I'm hoping to do it this week. We'll see. Or like this coming week. We'll see, we'll see. Ah, Erica! That was a good throw. Oh, that's what Erica. Hi! That was a good throw.
Always bigger. See.
Oh my.
You have little elf shoes, oh my gosh!
That's you.
It's so cute.
It might help.
Everybody's just members to me. I don't even know who y'all are.
What did I do to
Daddy.
you? Who are we missing?
Hi, Clark.
Okay.
Hi.
We'll see if that works.
Because if you change
Hi.
your FOV, it will help you mimic how like you
Oh
act.
man, oh man.
And
Wait, where did
So we can give her a spanking.
I've got mine at 90.
where did oh they go the friends went over here. Okay.
What you doing under
She's
here?
vibing in the bed.
What you doing?
No.
Except for me.
What you doing?
Having a discussion, a political discussion. Right now, while he ran away, you scared him off. Look what you did. Ah. I'm here now.
Hey, Feisty.
What the
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Hi.
Good.
Oh man.
Jump over your head.
No.
Make it.
Get in there. Get in the corner.
No.
Jump over your head. Try to jump over your head.
No.
Where's
Go away.
whacking time?
No.
Mickey.
No.
Lady spanking.
Whoa!
This.
How did I get up
No.
there?
Yeah, oh, you were flying.
Nyom. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Did it just say Spider-Man? It just said Spider-Man.
I have to stick taco.
No.
It just said I said Spider-Man.
Let me get up here.
Oh god, they're all over there. They're all over there. They're all over there. Oh god. Where do I go? Where do I go?
Come here, we got a bird cheeks.
No!
Get back.
Oh god! Okay, wait for the sticky people!
Oh man.
Oh god, there's a sick person up there. Don't go up there.
Should I just like sit in the corner? No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Who hit me?
It's gonna see you.
Who hit me?
No!
Yes.
Warning you guys.
You can even hear it.
You right off. Nope.
But
Richie, I got a trick for you.
Where?
Bad taco. Bad taco. Bad taco. Bad taco.
Hey, no, stop it. No.
No, I keep getting that like instantly.
I don't.
On the baton.
No. You taco.
I think that was Ramrod.
got him.
Chris, I'm sorry.
I got him back.
You know, you
I'm
ready?
just kidding, I'm just
You
kidding,
ready
I'm just
for
kidding,
this?
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding,
No, oh god. Oh god.
No, I don't want to die.
Holy.
Oh my god.
Oh man, okay, cheeky chamber. Ooh woo. Oh my.
Oh my god, I always fail on this one.
Is that Erica? I think I see Erica. I think I see Potion. Yep, there's Potion.
Taco.
What's happening? Okay. No pressure, guys. No
Oh
pressure.
man, oh 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 man.
That was a trap.
Oh god, thank god I didn't jump on that.
Yeah, no.
Oh man, 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 oh man. Okay.
We're fine. We're making it through, guys.
I've never made it past this one.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You know, we got it.
No, 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 no. God. Oh god, oh god, oh god.
Oh no, Potion.
Oh no! Oh no! Can I get it? Oh my gosh, okay, fuck! Fuck!
Oh my god.
Fuck! I think this is death. I think this is death. Oh no, it's not! Oh my gosh! I was afraid we were gonna get too low. Skybox. Watch out for the falling platforms. Okay.
Yay.
Oh man, here we go.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Right.
Oh.
Next door.
I got it. Oh! Okay.
Now we're run for it.
Oh.
I got it. Okay. Alright. Okay. This one. Got it. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Woo!
We got this, everybody. No pressure.
Holy, 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 holy. Wait, wait, wait. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, I was on one. Woo! Wait, how'd they just die? How'd they just die? Oh, man. That was random. The floor is lava. Don't touch the floor. Oh, they died from lag. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, fuck. Are these Oreos? They look like Oreos.
Oh god.
Oh no, I am on the sinking side of things. Yup. I have two options. Oh, I got one option. Oh no!
Kimmy,
Why?
what's up? Are you scared? hear an attack, you, Kimmy? Are you nervous?
No, because I know
Okay.
you won't do that to me.
I wouldn't.
Oh man, it's down to the wire. The last two people. I know, rip.
Are you good
Rip,
at
rip,
snowball,
rip.
Spawn?
The last two people though.
Oh my god. This is the end? Yes! Let's go, dude! Let's go. Let's go. Who?
Their first throw. They did. They added some new levels.
Vaughn, you taking us out to dinner with all those winnings you made tonight,
I'm gonna
right?
order open my box.
Wait, I know. I'm not
what do we
gonna...
got?
Wait, who was the last person I killed?
Me.
So I'm gonna play at least
me.
one more, folks.
Kimmy.
Over here. Right
Kimmy?
here.
Kimmy, you
Look,
were
I
the
got
last
sunglasses.
one?
Oh hey.
Yep, I
There
was.
she is.
Dang, I would let you
So I'm gonna do at least one more.
I keep getting gray wigs.
No.
Am I old?
It's okay. It's okay.
Maybe two. We'll see.
Amanda.
I want them.
At least one though.
I want them.
Amanda, are you streaming on FB right now?
No, I'm not streaming right
Hey, hey, hey,
I
hey.
need a way to like know everybody.
Did you hear what I said?
I just put him on the switch on my clock.
I'm gonna. I want to do like one more
Do you
game,
have all the links?
maybe two.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah,
Okay.
And-
Ow,
where would I
did you
have
have
it?
to hit me?
I did
I
actually.
heard you without the hitting.
If you could, that would be awesome.
Yeah, you gotta smack you for good measure, you know.
I'm back.
Really pound in the words.
You look like a
I
milk
think I could
mustache.
count out
Oh,
being
Amanda.
Nah.
Hi. Lindsay.
So we need to practice our slide and throw.
I got a mustache. Oh my god, look at your mustache. Oh my god, it's a handlebar.
Mustache, mustache. Hold on. Okay, mustache.
All right, here we go. Hide and go seek again. Let's go.
hide and seek.
This one was pretty easy as a hider last time.
You get stabbed a couple times.
Oh, hey, look, I'm already. Oh, fuck! I was in the perfect spot for being a hider.
I don't want to go down. Yeah, jump.
I think I'm
Okay,
good.
right, not?
Yeah, you're
Alright,
a good
it's fine, I
person.
guess.
Sorry about
Okay.
that. Erica.
Oh my god.
You're fine, you're fine. Oh
I'm in the
my
perfect
God.
spot. In the perfect spot.
We're safe here, we're not safe.
No!
Oh, their hat is like hanging off their head.
That was rude.
Over there, run! You're scaring me!
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Don't hit me. I'm
Okay, okay, okay. Truce, truce, truce.
Keep your whacking hands to your whacking self, huh? Tiny little whackers.
Don't rivalry, but listen to me. We can
You
talk
look
this
that
out.
way and I'll look this way.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh man, where? Oh, they're right there. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Mitch. Okay.
Oh my god, thank you so much for that. Can somebody
My
turn,
whole-
that right
My
there?
character's whole butt be out. Wait a minute. How'd you see my butt? Hold on.
You're such a
You
noob.
screenshot
I
it.
was like, if Taco was here right now, he would not
Send
take
it
that
to
flag.
me.
Like, Logan is
Second,
serious.
because I can't get anyone.
Gordy's not here.
Horrible.
Gordy.
Did I hear a potion?
Oh.
I'm currently taking a day off.
He's in there. He's in the saloon. Hell yeah.
Hey.
I heard myself like in the feedback. Oh, I got dodgeball. Hopefully I don't die immediately again.
Oh, not this one again. I'm so bad.
Who's gonna win?
I know. Taco
You're
Team.
going down,
Taco
potion.
Team? No.
No, you're going.
Let's get gold.
Oh, you're going. Literally a
I hate the
demon
ice
god.
one. Ooh, I got someone.
How do you even? Oh, I got one. Just keep sliding, just keep sliding, just keep sliding. Fuck, 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 fuck. God damn it. Ah! Alright. I get it. So on the snowball one, it seems like the team that wins gets completely revived. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
It was a misclick. It was a
Hello, Ramrod. Whoa,
Hey,
well,
that was quick.
I guess we don't have to worry about that
Oh
one.
man. Oh man. Snowball. Pick up snowballs from the piles. Alright. They hit each other.
Oh, that happened. That was like instant.
Oh, they got little slippers. Those are cute.
Nice.
Alright, I'm gonna see. Oh man. Erica! Oh my god! Erica
Think you're going down
screenshot
again.
my butt hanging out.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Whoever
man.
gets it, right?
Thank you for that. I needed that in my life.
Somebody.
Oh man.
Potion.
I needed that in my
Remember that one
life.
time we both made
Holy.
it, Potion? Don't do this, Potion. I'm just kidding.
Listen.
Potion, wait, why are you lagging on my screen?
Potion died. Get wrecked.
How many?
Get wrecked,
oh my
fool.
god. That was like a snipe.
Oh. Who's gonna get it? Top or bottom? Oh, he came down!
Oh my god!
Amazing! Wow. Erica, you got another box! Congrats! I wonder, like, what designates who gets a box? Also, I'll do another one. I'm definitely doing another one.
So good. That was so.
I'm doing another one.
I didn't realize I was still alive.
Oh, that was
Anticipating that. That was so good. I'm not even mad. Like,
What?
that was great.
What? Nah.
Come here.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm getting all the
Yeah.
balls.
Hey, Taco.
You don't think I can jump?
No, I don't think you can at all, actually. That's
Oh,
not
yeah,
a skill
watch it.
you learned. I know, I want shoes too! I want shoes, I want hair, maybe even a mustache, alright? I want all the things. I keep getting hats, but not good hats either. Wait, I didn't read the rules. Oh!
Oh.
I got him! I got Potion! Let's go!
Hey, I would like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. Potion! Taco, leave me! Leave me! Why are you interviewing me? You were specifically going for me? You!
Oh man.
Okay, I'm gonna get you now.
Hello.
Yes?
Oh god. Hi. Oh god, this is chaos!
Oh my god,
Chaos.
come here.
No, it's okay.
Oh god.
That's revenge.
See you.
Hi, Mitch.
No!
He is there.
Oh my god. Demi!
Holy.
Keep running!
Holy.
No!
Oh.
No!
No. No, not allowed.
Hey, Pink!
No! I don't want it!
He's up here. He's up here.
Don't do it to me, man. Listen. Don't throw the snowball.
Hey.
You were gonna sacrifice me? No! Watch out for falling platforms.
Ding. Alright. Oh, okay. Right here. We got this. Woo! That's terrifying! Why is this one more terrifying than the other one?
No! Don't do it to me!
Damn it, I was hoping it came.
You got way lucky this time.
No, you didn't.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
Don't slap me.
Wait, did he die?
Oh my god!
Oh my
you did, man. Unbelievable.
Did Potion die? Oh no.
Okay. Passing the bomb.
Hey, Nikki B, you're the bomb.
You're the bomb. You're the bomb.
Okay, I don't want the bomb. I don't want it. Okay, I didn't get it. Cool.
What? How did I die?
Meow.
Seeing you again.
Yep.
Destiny for us to hang out. Don't you hit
No
Santa
pushy,
Teresa.
pushy.
Okay. Truce. Truce.
Ah!
Oh my god!
I know I was just talking about us. The bait and stuff. It's not real. Oh, she.
Oh man. The bomb's all the way over there. Okay. Is the last one? Yeah, this is my last one too, I think. I probably gotta join you guys, Erica.
Why? What did I do to deserve this? Hi. Come here. Come on. Come on. We gotta do this.
This has been so much fun though.
You know,
I'm so glad you guys have joined us.
What's happening?
Oh man.
I'm so sorry.
Oh man. They're gonna die. They died.
I'm sorry. Vaughn, come up
No!
here. I can't. It's lava.
Fuck. Come here, come here. Come here. What you running from?
I don't know.
Oh man. Oh, brutal. Am I the only one that got rid of my bomb? I might be the only one that got rid of my bomb. Heck, man. No platforms, don't touch the floor. Okay. Floor is lava. The water is lava. Okay, I'm gonna probably get over here real quick. Oh, mine just went away, so that's good. My nose is so itchy, folks. Why is my nose so itchy? Oh no. Oh fuck.
I don't know if this is a good move or not.
Oh man, it's me and you. It's me and you.
No.
Oh man.
No.
Truce.
Truce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, not dodgeball! Man! Yo, their character did a backflip. Do a trick. Oh man, I just didn't go tall enough. Oh! I got him!
I was getting ready to throw my...
Good job!
Yay!
High five! Mini monkey tag! Oh no! No! This is the last one! Tag for the last match. How dare? How dare? How do I get up this? Come here. Come here. Come here. Fuck! Oh no, how do I get up there? Okay. Okay. Fuck! I don't know how to get up there. Oh man, how do I get up there? Wait. Oh, there's a thingy up here! Wait, where'd he go? Where'd they go? Aw, man, I almost had them! Heck. Ah. Potion, you got a box. You got a box. I wanna know what's in your box. Tell me what's in your box. Oh my gosh. Do I have anything in my inventory? Oh, I have a box! What's in my box? Another Heckin' visor! Alright, alright. That's it. That's all. That's all for me. That's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed Crab Game. I liked it a lot. I like all the improvements and like changes that they did to it. It was pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Okay. Let me see. I need to go to their channel because I think I'm gonna rate out to the person who's hosting. I think that would be fair, right? It would definitely be fair to host or to rate out to the person that's hosting this. So, thank you guys for coming. Thanks everybody. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you enjoy it here. We're actually getting ready to end stream for today. We're gonna be doing, I think my next stream is either gonna be Jackbox or Just Dance. We'll see. I don't know which one I want to do first, but one of those two will be next. So I'll be streaming hopefully again on Tuesday, maybe. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you all sometime next week for one of those two games. Thank you all for being here, for lurking, for chatting, for watching. For the resubs and the follows, y'all are awesome. And let's go raid Mickey. I won one of them, gamer. Potion didn't win any of them. Don't let them fool you. But I won one of them. No, you're fine. Lurking is great. Thank you for the support, gamer. Thank you for the support. But anyways, we're gonna go say hi to Mickey. They're the ones who's hosting this event, so. Everybody say hello to Mickey. Here's our raid message. Here is a raid message if you don't have our sub. So, yeah. Let's show them lots of love, guys. I'll see you all next week for either Jackbox or Just Dance. Alright. Oh, Soup, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I streamed earlier tonight. But yeah, yeah, I'll see you all next week for one of those two games. Alright. Bye, guys.